So if you want to search for a specific business process, we can type BP colon and the name of the process. So any BPs that are specified for specific supervisory organizations, it can be listed under the super, then business process menu. Issues with adding other groups such as finance executive as approvers must have access to domain and be part of the business process security policy. Use a business process security policy for functional area report. It will tell you that, for example, proposed compensation our business process is in the core compensation area. So we have gone through the functional area report, and we have gone through the business policies as well. Would you like a refresher on that? And where should we go there again? Have a look at it. So when we run this report, business process security policy for functional area, we can have a list of all the business processes related to the functional area. And then we have the summary of each parent business process. And if it has any child business processes, it will gather it here as well. And here on the right side, we can see permissions from the business policy as to who can initiate, which action. For example, if I go to proposed compensation hire, so on the proposed compensation hire, who can initiate the proposed compensation hire? Who can initiate proposed wage change? And then there comes actions, who can review compensation hire? Who can do all actions on the entire business process? Who can approve? Who can rescind? And in some of the areas, you will see that there's something called web services right here, like recent web services, then correct, request reassignment, reassign task, deny, then deny also has web services. And then the policy level restrictions, like can this process be delegated? Do we want to hide comments from the worker that is going on between during the approval process? Do we want to hide details from the worker, disable comments, unrestricted escalation? So these are policy level settings. So it's not directed to a particular action or particular activity, but it is the overall policy configuration. And then on each step, you have an option to attach documents. And if you want to enable that service, you can just enable attachment to yes, and then you can define the permissions if you want to for the attachments services. Again, the configuration for child and parent is if you make any changes on the parent policy in terms of who can do what action or what activity, it will inherit it to the child policies. So, but if I want to have a specific configuration for a child policy, I can go to the child policy and click on edit permissions, and it'll be only set up for that particular child policy, and it will not inherit it to the parent policy. But if you make any changes to the parent policy, it would by default inherit to the child policy. So if we are trying to like point number one, BP enter name of process. See if I click on BP, say change job. So I can see the list of all the BPs that matches change job. And again, the default definition is going to be for the tenant-wide setup. And then the additional change of business processes are for specific supervisory organizations. Another thing that I can do is See if I remove change job and just put BP colon. Now that's not working. So I can then go to business process definitions, and it'll give me the list of all the business processes, the module it is part of, the default definition, and definition for business objects as well. Point number 4, when a completion step finishes, the business process is listed as complete even if there are more steps to do. So for example, let's go back to a business process and look at an example. BP, say, hire. And if you see that in step H, it is marked as complete as yes. But there are more steps remaining after step H, like I, couple of J's, K, L, and then also in L, I have some steps marked as complete. Why does this happen? So for example, a person can be listed as hired even if steps for having the new employee enter the personal information and W4 form are not done. Completion makes the data for this business process available for other systems like payroll. If there's no completion step, the business process is considered complete. So when you need to uh, do some optional steps, or not optional, but required steps as well, but after some of the steps, you would like the next business process to initiate side by side. You can mark it as complete at a given step, and the hiring process will be in the system completed, but there would be other steps pending or through hire as well. So for example, in this case, in the hire business process, we can see the sequence of steps like the initiation, that if the employee is not in USA, then local employee documentation, then there are no conditions, so everybody will get proposed compensation higher. Then start background check with a condition, then review employee hire, then payroll documentation, change personal information, edit government IDs, and then change org assignment. So in the first round, as soon as the change org assignment process is complete, is executed by the HR partner, the step in the business process will be marked as complete. But then after that, the next business process may kick in, but the following business processes would still need to continue. It doesn't mean that it'll skip all the other steps, but it means that the step H would say the higher business process is complete. So the next business process, for example, could be proposed compensation or onboarding step that would fire side by side as soon as the H step is complete. But then the next conditions or the next steps within the business process will also continue, like maintain employee contract. This is by HR partner. Then assign pay group. Again, it's by payroll interface partner. Then is the next is Workday service, like create Workday account that will continue, create provisioning event, edit service date, remove retiree status, add probation, edit Workday account, onboarding setup, request one-time payment, request stock grant for new hire, inform agencies, then other onboarding procedures, onboarding request worker from hire. And you can have different conditions for these steps as well. Maybe they may not apply to the worker based on your conditions on if column. Is this one. The business process configuration report provides the step types available for that business process, such as approvals, checklists, questionnaires, to-do, service, kickoffs to separate Workday owner processing steps, such as a Workday account creation, document delivery to external servers, and so on. So let's open this report, say hire. Sorry, I have to remove the include sub-processes. And here it's showing me the business process type. It's higher, the description, allowed sub-processes, valid for usage, approvable, ad hoc approval, cancelable, correctable, advanceable, rescindable. So all these services or all the type of tasks that are allowed in the business process are listed here. Approval options are approve, deny, send back, allows delete incomplete process, allows send back to prior approval, allows manual sandback, allows mass approval steps, help text is allowed, attachment is allowed, questionnaires are allowed, and whichever is not allowed or not available in the business process is blank. And then we'll get the entire list of all the allowed actions in the business process, like add a mentor during hire, options to save, like deny, save, and save for later and submit. Allows configurable action is blank, manage mentorship, initiate sub-processes, manage mentorship, restrictions, then prerequisite actions, view text group, allow limited approval, revision actions, event service, and restrictions. And for each and every task, it will give you all these information that are available within the business process. So this report gives you the configuration snapshot of your configured business process. So consolidated approval is combine multiple approval for the same person into a single approval task notification. Let's go back to our business process. Say BP hire. So consolidated approval can be added in the group. So let's try to edit this and see how that works. Say, for example, I would like to have a review employee hire action, which is step D, in an HR partner. See, I want to add another step, say step D. Type, I can say select consolidated approval. And say the due date is 1 day. It'll give me an error here that consolidation approval is missing random configure. All right. So once we've created the step for consolidated approval, step D, we have to configure the consolidated approval step as well. Business process, configure consolidated approval. And what I would like to do is say for these 3 steps, say I want to have this on step A, this on step B, and this on step C. So with consolidated approval, I am trying to get approval for 3 types of events in one go. So it's not going to send 3 different notifications for approval, but I'm consolidating all these 3 items together, putting them in order, and then send it to the HR partner in as one approval or actionable task. So if I would like to consolidate the steps that I have in my business process into say in one go, like they're similar tasks and I need a consolidated approval for all these 1, 2, or 3 steps, I can use the action type consolidated approval and send it to the relevant group. So for example, each and every step is being done by HR partner, but when you send it to the say manager's manager, and you would like to save and consolidate all the approvals that you have taken from the above step and into say one activity, except for 3 separate activities. We can use a consolidate approval type and then assign it to a specific group. For every business process, you have an option to view them as diagrams. So BP diagram, view diagram as swim lanes. So I have an option up here on the top called view diagrams. If I click on this, I can see the entire business process in swim lanes. So initiation, then goes to HR partner, then the if conditions, then the step, then the next steps come through, like proposed compensation hire, start a background check, and their conditions. Then step by step, it'll give me the entire swim lanes or the flow chart for the business process. So here we can see that, some of the areas are going to the other swim lanes, which are by the security groups assigned. So on the top, I have HR administrator, then HR partner, payroll interface partner, then retiree partner, security administrator, manager, and then all the actionable tasks and their if conditions are mentioned here. So there's a report called Find Events Report. You can that can help you answer questions such as what is the status of a specific hire? Why was a hire canceled or rescinded? And what are the hires? What are all the hires initiated by a specific employee? So let's open this report. Find events. See, business process is hire. So here I can, this is a kind of a search report. And here I can see all the employees. I can look at them, say, if I want to filter, say, who's initiated the hire process. Say I select Katarina. So she hired one person called Alejandro Ruiz, or she initiated the business process for Alejandro Ruiz. If I look at Scott Wilkinson, then 3 are listed here. I can have more than one. So it'll show me the people from Scott, Beth, and Katarina. So about worker, if I select these, it'll give me the list by the worker name. And see if I want to search by a specific worker, I can search for the worker's name here as well in the search box. Organization or business process type hire, we've already selected that. Then if I want to search by statuses, say how many were canceled and rescinded, so it'll filter the data out for me. Say if I want to go by organization such as, and here you will see below that the status fields keep on changing. The number of count keep on changing when I select the organization. So this is an interactive report. It is also called a search report. So you're able to set up all these parameters on your left side, on the top as well, and be able to search by different search criteria. So some business process notes. The business process configuration option report is one of the most useful report tools for the planning and configuration of your business processes. This report informs how a business process type can be configured with detailed options available for any restrictions that include Organization types for which it is valid, allowable actions and approvals, options on saving after an available action, restrictions. So you cannot have a change benefit for life even sub-process prior to a completion step. Prerequisite actions that are required before other actions. Example, change organization assignment must occur prior to assigned pay group. Next, whether the business process is a sub-process only, what sub-processes can be used, what business process is allowed as a sub-process, whether mass approval steps are allowed, whether an incomplete business process can be deleted. All right, so there's a few tasks that we would like to do. So would you like to practice it side by side with me? Or I'm going to show you on the tenant as well. So explore business process configuration options report. So it says sign in as Logan McNeil, search for the selected business process configuration report. Let's open up business process configuration report. Let's say onboarding. So we have our onboarding business process configuration. In the filter by business process type field, select one of the business process types to discuss. Say expense report, even proposed compensation hire, or title change. Optional, you may wish to select the checkbox for return business process for which the selected are allowed sub-processes. So let's try to do that again. For hire, it did not give us any information, but now even in this, we don't have it. And again, here we can see all the configuration options, what is allowed, what is not allowed, what can be done are listed here in the configuration report and then followed by allowed actions for each type of task. So how can a business process be configured? So we did the first part. A few questions. What is the valid type of organizations for the higher business process type? So let's look at the report. So what is the valid type of organization for the higher business process? So allowed organization for advanced rounding is yes. Business process definition and restriction to custom organizations. And there's no restriction here. What are the approval options? So approval options are listed here. See, hire and onboarding. Let's take both of them together. So what are the approval options? So here are all the approval options. Right here in this columns, like approve, deny, send back for the man. For the hire process, there are three kind of approvals: approve, deny, send back. And for the onboarding options, there are no approval steps or approval options available in onboarding, because onboarding is sent to the employee. So employee doesn't have a choice of any approvals or any sendbacks or cancellation. The employee has to do those onboarding tasks. In this type of business process, be canceled or rescinded. So if you look at this column, say the onboarding can be canceled. It is rescindable as well. Are there any required actions? If anything that is marked as required in this column, let's go back up and see. No, nothing is marked as required. So all the actions are not marked as required. So that's why we don't see anything in the required column. What are the requisition or prerequisite actions for the assigned pay group tasks? This is initiate a sub-process. Search for assigned pay group task. If you look here, it has an option for initiate sub-process, which is assigned pay group. And the prerequisite action is change org assignment. So once we have completed the change org assignment task in the business process, and only then assigned pay group can be initiated as a task. What's the process is initiated with the proposed compensation hire task? Proposed compensation hire, and initiates a process is proposed compensation hire as well. With this report, you can really look deep down the details of your business process that you're trying to configure and what is available, what options are available, how and what any restrictions are there, and so on. So it's a very good report to analyze your business process while you are making configuration changes to it. All right, now let's look at the next agenda item, business process configurations. Editing business processes, so you can configure business processes to meet the needs of your organization. Configuration start with a baseline business process, and from there you can add, change, reorder, or delete steps. Specify the security groups involved in those steps and configure features such as condition rules, help text, notifications, and how the steps are labeled in your user inbox. Configuration options for each business process are governed and described in the business process configuration option report, which we will be using throughout the training. The security groups defined in your business processes are first defined in the business process security policy. As we will see through the course, the business process definition is driven by what functions are available as described in the configuration option report and who is involved in the process as configured in the business process security policy. So when you are editing a business process, we have to look at the configuration options like which are delivered, steps, action, tasks that are possible, and in security policy side by side, who is allowed to participate and it is configurable. So in the definition, what steps, tasks, action do you want to include? Who is responsible? And again, this is configurable as well. Then comes the instance or event, which is the actual transaction result. So edit and view mode overview. When working with business process configuration, consider two modes that we will be working on to do our configurations. Edit and view. So refer to this chart if you need guidance as to what modes dictate which configuration options. So in edit mode, you can add, remove steps, you can order steps, you can assign groups, you can assign due dates, you can flag steps as optional and require all to act on step. In view, create condition rules, create condition rules, add and maintain step delays, timing, add rules to skip steps for certain groups, change step labels for users, add notifications, define when process is complete. So to edit a business process from the business process, navigate to the action, business process, and edit definition. So we go to edit action, go to business process, edit definition. It'll ask for a time zone and the effective date. And now I'm in the edit mode. So first step is edit the business process definition in each step with the same order, type one or more letter in the parallel step in box or column. So here, for example, if I have these parallel steps, say I want this step to happen first in C and this step to happen second in C. So I can say 1 and 2. Also, I want to say in step D, I am okay with the order of steps that comes in the inbox. So D, I'm going to just leave it like this. And let's see in J. Okay, I want this step to happen first, this step to happen second, say third, fourth, sixth, and say 7. So when the item or the task lands in the inbox of a given user, this is a sequence of parallel steps inbox order that I would like to see or show in the inbox. Workday displays the inbox tasks in the opposite order specified in the business process definition. So if you sort your inbox by newest on top, so what this means is that 7 will come in first, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So it displays the order in reverse. For example, if a business process administrator sets up parallel steps in the order of in the business process definition, say CEA add photo, CB complete I-9 form, CC change emergency contact. So in the inbox, you will see change emergency contact first, complete I-9 as a second, and third as add photo. So if one of the parallel step is worked on and saved for later, the order relative to the other steps parallel to it is not maintained. So if we have parallel steps configured and one of the parallel steps is not completed or saved for later in the inbox of the user, the order relative to other steps parallel is not maintained. So then the order will go away. It will not have the same order anymore. So next steps to match the parallel step inbox order with the order in which the task is displayed in inbox. Sort the inbox oldest on top to reverse the order of steps in parallel step inbox order column. So in the business process, say if I want to sort this, so it'll show me the order as to how it will show in the inbox. So all the 7s will show first when the order of J is initiated. So for J, all these steps like 7, 6, 5, 4, then 2, 2, 1. But it will also maintain the order, this third column of order. It will go in that order, but whenever the parallel step of inbox order is configured, it will show these items in descending order in the inbox of a user. So a few common business process step types. Action steps are either review steps or they are steps to call a sub-process. Review steps are like approvals, but they allow the user to edit the business process data. We will discuss approvals later in this course. Examples in the change organization assignment for worker business process and action for the employee self change benefit elections if there is also a company change. Next example in the change business title business process and action for the manager to review a change in an employee's business title before the HR partner final approval. Example, in the expense report business process, an action for the expense partner to review, audit every fifth expense report and other for the tax manager to review the tax if the expense includes a VAT. VAT is value-added tax. In the customer invoice email event business process, an action for the account receivable specialist to review the customer invoice before emailing. So either the receiver or the security group can either just review, or if they need to make any changes, and if they're allowed to edit this business process step, they can make changes or edit the process with the values if need be. Business process to-dos. A to-do is a reminder or an activity that the responsible person must do within or outside the Workday system. To-dos can also be grouped into checklists, which we will cover later in the course. An example, in the hire business process, an employee itself has a to-do to submit a W-4 form. So to-do is kind of a reminder or an action that they need to do on their own outside of the workday business process. So in the change job business process, the security administrator has a to-do to review user-based security group assignments to ensure those still apply once the employee has changed jobs. In the period close event business process, the accounting manager has a to-do to close ledger for operational transactions. The controller has a to-do to publish reports. In the onboarding business process, the employee has a to-do to update skills and experience in the Workday profile as part of the onboarding. When configuring a to-do, a static hyperlink to an external site URL or SAML SSO link may also be configured. Tasks may also be associated with a to-do. When you associate a Workday task with a to-do, everyone who receives a to-do as a part of business process sees a link in their inbox that takes them directly to the associated task. Say in the hire business process, I have a step E, which is to-do task, which is payroll documentation, and it is assigned to HR partner. Then a couple of other steps for to do, again assigned to HR partner like inform agencies, other onboarding procedures. Business process to do. So no to do step can be associated with any active security groups in the tenant. They are not tied to the restrictions in the business process security policy, like tasks and actions are when added to a business process definition. You can also use a mass action to cancel a to-do step. A tip, run the to-dos report to see the list of to-do steps used throughout the business processes. You can also see helpful information such as how often the to-do step is used, event usage count, and which specific business processes. Let's open a to-dos report. So here I will have a complete list of to-dos, whether it is active or not, the description, instructional text, show report documentation, related links, tasks, any SSO links, single sign-on links, event usage count, definition usage, definite to do usage count, used by checklists, and used by workflow definitions. Say, let's do a descending order on this. We'll have the most used. So the to-do is review user-based security group assignment. The instructional text is here. The task is assign user-based group for a person. It is being used in 14 places. It is being used 9 times. Any distribution regarding that? And which workflow definitions are using the to-do tasks? So it is in termination of global modern services, default definition for termination, request absence from leave, then end contingent worker contract, added additional job, change for IT services group, change for global modern services, and change job default definition. Parallel steps. If you want some steps to be executed in parallel, so to achieve this, simply use the same letter for each of the steps you want to be completed in parallel. Parallel steps can be completed in any order, but all must be completed before the next step.